We live in a world profoundly shaped by an invisible force. It is a world where certain ancient fears no longer haunt our daily lives. This transformation is not an accident of nature. It is one of humanity's greatest achievements. We are talking about vaccines. They are a quiet, yet powerful form of protection. They have saved more lives than nearly any other medical invention in our history. The numbers themselves tell a staggering story of success. Before this shield existed, the world was a far more perilous place, especially for the very young. Entire generations could be scarred by diseases that we now rarely see. It is a story of science, of community, and of hope. Consider the world just a few generations ago. A disease like smallpox was a relentless predator. In the 20th century alone, it claimed an estimated 300 million lives. The human body is a marvel of natural engineering. Within each of us lies a sophisticated defense force known as the immune system. It is constantly on alert, ready to identify invaders, viruses, bacteria. A vaccine is a training manual for this system. It does not fight the disease itself. Instead, it teaches the body how to recognize and defeat a specific enemy before a full-scale invasion. Elegant and wonderfully simple. It gives the body knowledge to win without the battle. Imagine a most wanted poster. A vaccine introduces a harmless look-alike of the germ. Weakened version, inactivated version, tiny signature piece, a protein. This imposter cannot cause illness, but it shows the key features. Specialized immune cells see it and spring into action. They learn to identify it as a threat. They create a memory of its shape and structure. Crucial training exercise. The body prepares a strategy for a future encounter. Once training is complete, the immune system produces antibodies. Antibodies are custom-made keys that lock onto the germ. The story of vaccination is best told through its greatest successes. These are not small victories. They are monumental triumphs over diseases that have plagued humanity for centuries. We have already mentioned smallpox, the first and only human disease to be completely eradicated by our own efforts. Before its vaccine, a smallpox infection was a terrifying lottery. Up to 30% of those infected died. Survivors were often left with deep, permanent scars or even blindness. It was a global scourge. The vaccine changed everything. The number of cases fell year by year until in 1980, the world could finally declare itself free. This stands as a permanent monument to what we can achieve when we work together. Then there is the near conquest of polio. This disease is particularly cruel as it most often strikes children under the age of 5. In a fraction of cases, the virus attacks the nervous system, leading to irreversible paralysis. In 1988, an estimated 350,000 people, mostly children, were paralyzed by polio across the globe. It was a common sight in many parts of the world. In response, the world launched a global initiative to vaccinate every child. Today, the results are simply breathtaking. Cases of wild polio virus have plummeted by over 99.9%. Show split screen 1988 versus 2025 map here. The virus now clings to existence in only a few isolated pockets of the world. We are on the cusp of making it the second human disease to be wiped from the face of the earth. Let us not forget measles, a disease often underestimated. Before a vaccine became widely available in 1963, measles was a universal childhood experience. It caused an estimated 2.6 million deaths every year worldwide. It is one of the most contagious viruses known to us. Our battle against infectious diseases did not end with the taming of polio and measles. It is an ongoing effort as viruses are constantly evolving. The annual influenza virus, the flu, is a perfect example of this moving target. Each year, new strains of flu circulate around the globe, and each year scientists work to create a vaccine to match them. The flu vaccine's effectiveness can vary from season to season, but its value is undeniable. In a typical year, it can reduce the risk of getting sick enough to see a doctor by 40 to 60%. That's a significant reduction across the population. But the vaccine's benefits go far beyond preventing a few days of fever. For the most vulnerable, the flu can be life-threatening. Older adults, young children, people with chronic health conditions. A flu infection can lead to pneumonia. It can lead to hospitalization. It can lead to death. The flu vaccine is critical for reducing these severe outcomes. Even when the vaccine isn't a perfect match, it still primes the immune system. That often means if someone gets sick, their illness is much milder, and their risk of hospitalization is substantially lower. The world recently witnessed vaccine science in real time during the COVID-19 pandemic. A novel virus emerged and spread with devastating speed. It caused widespread illness and mortality. The scientific community mobilized with unprecedented urgency. Within a year, multiple safe and effective vaccines were developed and deployed. For any medical intervention, it is essential to have a clear and honest conversation about effects, both intended and unintended. Vaccines are no exception. The vast majority of reactions to a vaccine are mild, temporary, and a positive sign the immune system is doing what it should. When you receive a vaccine, your body's defense system is activated. That activation can cause noticeable, short-term effects. Many people experience soreness, redness, swelling at the spot where the shot was given. This is a local inflammatory response, immune cells arriving to begin training. Some people also have general systemic reactions. These include low-grade fever, tiredness, headache, muscle aches. These symptoms usually appear within a day or two and resolve in a few days. They're inconvenient but not a sign of illness. They're hallmarks of a robust immune response. To make an informed decision, we must, weigh the evidence fairly. This means not just looking at the risks of a vaccine in isolation, but comparing them directly to the risks of the disease it prevents. When we make this comparison, the conclusion becomes overwhelmingly clear. For every vaccine currently recommended, the dangers of contracting the natural disease are orders of magnitude greater than the risks of vaccination. It is a simple calculation of harm reduction. We are choosing a path with a tiny, well-monitored risk to avoid a path with a much larger and more unpredictable one. Let us return to the example of measles. As we have discussed, the risk of a severe allergic reaction to the MMR vaccine is about 1 in a million. Now consider the alternative, a measles infection. For every 1,000 children who get measles, 1 or 2 will die. About 1 in 4 will be hospitalized. About 1 in every 1,000 will develop encephalitis, a swelling of the brain. That encephalitis can lead to permanent brain damage, deafness, intellectual disability. The math is not complicated. The trust we place in vaccines is not blind. It is built on rigorous testing and continuous vigilant monitoring, the most robust in medicine. Before approval, a vaccine goes through a lengthy, painstaking development process. It can take a decade or longer. Years of lab research come first. If a candidate shows promise, it moves into 3 clinical trial phases with human volunteers. Is it safe? Does it work? Phase 1. Small groups, basic safety and dosage. Phase 2. Larger groups, evaluate safety and immune response. Phase 3, the most critical, tens of thousands of volunteers. One group receives the vaccine, another gets a placebo, often a saltwater injection. Researchers compare outcomes to confirm effectiveness and spot side effects. Only if safety and efficacy are proven will bodies like the US FDA consider approval. Safety monitoring doesn't stop at approval. Often, that is when the most important phase begins. The decision to vaccinate is a personal one, but its consequences extend far beyond a single individual. It ripples outward, creating a circle of protection, embracing our family, our neighbors, our entire community. Not everyone has a strong, healthy immune system. Newborn infants are too young to be fully vaccinated. Whooping cough can be fatal for them. Some people are fighting cancer. Chemotherapy that saves their lives also decimates their immune systems. Others have had organ transplants. They must take immunosuppressant drugs for life. For these people, the community is their immune system. When most healthy people are vaccinated, it creates a formidable barrier. This is community immunity. A virus seeking a new host runs into dead ends. The chain of transmission is broken. Outbreaks are prevented before they start. We stand today at a remarkable point in human history. We possess the scientific knowledge and the practical tools to prevent an immense amount of suffering and death from infectious diseases. We have seen the evidence. We have looked at the numbers. We have compared the risks and benefits. The conclusion is clear and unwavering. Vaccines are one of the most essential, safest, and most effective tools for public health. They are a triumph of human ingenuity and a testament to our capacity for cooperation. The path forward requires us to embrace this achievement with confidence and a sense of shared purpose. This does not mean we should dismiss questions or ignore concerns. If you have doubts, speak with a doctor, a nurse, or a pharmacist you trust. Seek information from reliable, expert sources, national health agencies, and global organizations like the World Health Organization. Trust the evidence and embrace vaccine protection. It is our shared responsibility and our shared hope